Able. Unable. I'm able to play the guitar, but I'm unable to play the piano. Above. Below. The bird flew above the clouds, while the plane was flying below them. Absent. Present. He was absent from work yesterday, but he is present today. Accept. Reject. I will accept the job offer if they meet my salary requirements, otherwise, I will reject it. Accurate. Inaccurate. The accurate information was useful for the research, but the inaccurate information led to false conclusions. Achieve. Fail. She was able to achieve her dream after years of hard work, but she failed to complete the project on time. Add. Subtract. If you add 5 to 10, you get 15. If you subtract 5 from 10, you get 5. Admit. Deny. She had no choice but to admit her mistake, as denying it would only make things worse. Advance. Retreat. He advanced towards the enemy lines, but he had to retreat due to heavy fire. Advantage. Disadvantage. One advantage of living in the city is easy access to amenities, but a disadvantage is the high cost of living. Afraid. Confident. She was afraid to speak in public, but after practicing, she became confident in her abilities. After. Before. After finishing her homework, she watched TV before going to bed. Against. For. He was against the new policy, whereas his colleague was for it. Agree. Disagree. They agreed on the best course of action, but they disagreed on the details. Alive. Dead. The plant was alive and thriving, but the leaves on the other one were dead and withered. All. None. All of the students passed the test, but none of them received a perfect score. Allow. Prohibit. The company policy allowed employees to work from home, but it prohibited them from using their personal devices for work. Allow. Forbid. She allowed her children to play outside, but she forbade them from going near the busy road. Always. Never. She always arrives early for meetings, but her colleague never does. Ancient. Modern. Ancient civilizations used hieroglyphics to communicate, while modern societies use written and spoken languages. Angel. Devil. She was an angel in her kind actions, but a devil in her cunning ways. Apart. Together. They were apart during the pandemic, but they stayed together through virtual communication. Appear. Disappear. The magician made the rabbit appear out of nowhere, and then it disappeared just as quickly. Approve. Disapprove. The committee approved the plan for the new park, but the environmentalists disapproved of it. Artificial. Natural. The artificial flavor of the candy was unpleasant, but the natural flavor of the fruit was delicious. Ascend. Descend. The climbers had to ascend the mountain to reach the summit, and then they had to descend to get back down. Attack. Defend. The army was ready to attack, but the enemy was prepared to defend themselves. Attractive. Repulsive. She was attractive to him at first, but his rude behavior soon became repulsive. Awake. Asleep. She stayed awake all night to finish her project, and then she fell asleep just as the sun was rising. Awful. Wonderful. The movie was so awful that they walked out of the theater, but the play they saw the next day was wonderful. Back. Front. He was standing at the back of the room, while she was sitting at the front. Backward. Forward. She had to walk backward to see the sign, but she had to walk forward to read it. Bad. Good. The cake tasted bad, but the ice cream tasted good. Beautiful. Ugly. The beautiful sunset was a sight to behold, but the ugly building was an eyesore. Begin. End. She had to begin her essay with an introduction, but she had to end it with a conclusion. Believe. Doubt. She believed in her abilities, but she doubted her chances of success. Best. Worst. The best part of the movie was the surprise ending, but the worst part was the slow pace in the middle. Better. Worse. She was feeling better after her illness, but unfortunately, her sister was feeling worse. Big. Small. The elephant was big, while the mouse was small. Birth. Death. Birth is the beginning of life, while death marks the end of it. Black. White. The black cat crossed the street, but the white dog stayed on the sidewalk. Bless. Curse. She would never curse anyone, but always try to bless people with kind words and positive thoughts. Borrow. Lend. She had to borrow money from her friend, but she promised to lend it back as soon as possible. Bottom. Top. The bottom of the stairs led to the basement, but the top of the stairs led to the attic. Boy. Girl. The boy played with his toy cars, while the girl played with her dolls. Brave. Cowardly. The brave knight rode his horse into battle, while the cowardly knight ran away from the fight. Bright. Dark. The bright sun shone down on the beach, but the dark clouds on the horizon threatened to bring rain. Broad. Narrow. The road was broad and spacious, but it narrowed as it approached the bridge. Buy. Sell. She decided to buy the new book, but her friend wanted to sell her own copy for a lower price. Calm. Anxious. She took a deep breath and tried to stay calm, despite feeling anxious about the upcoming presentation. Can. Cannot. He can play the piano, but he cannot play the guitar. Careful. Careless. She was careful not to spill the coffee on her white shirt, but her careless colleague did just that. Catch. Release. The fisherman caught a big fish, but he released it back into the water to let it live. Cause. Effect. The cause of the problem was a software glitch, while the effect was a system crash. Cellar. Attic. The wine cellar was cool and dark, while the attic was hot and stuffy. Center. Periphery. The park has a fountain in the center, while the playground is located at the periphery. Certain. Uncertain. The little girl was certain she wanted to be a doctor when she grew up, but she was uncertain about what kind of doctor she wanted to be. Cheap. Expensive. She found a cheap dress at the thrift store, but the same dress was much more expensive at the boutique. Cheerful. Sad. She was cheerful and bubbly, while her friend was feeling sad and down. Clean. Dirty. She cleaned the kitchen counter with a sponge, but the sponge was dirty from previous use. Clear. Unclear. The instructions were clear and easy to follow, but the unclear diagrams made it hard to understand. Clear. Cloudy. The sky was clear and blue, but it became cloudy as the day progressed. Clever. Stupid. She was clever enough to solve the puzzle in record time, while her friend struggled and felt stupid. Close. Open. She closed the door quietly, but her cat pushed it open and ran outside. Cold. Hot. The weather was cold and frosty, but it became hot and humid as the day went on. Combine. Separate. She decided to combine the two recipes to make a new dish, but she had to separate the ingredients carefully to do so. Come. Go. She was coming home from work, while he was going to work. Comfortable. Uncomfortable. She felt comfortable in her new shoes, but her old pair was uncomfortable to wear. Common. Rare. Seeing a shooting star is a rare occurrence, while seeing a pigeon in the city is a common sight. Complete. Incomplete. She completed the puzzle in record time, while her friend struggled and left it incomplete. Conceal. Reveal. She wanted to conceal her surprise, but her expression revealed everything. Confident. Unsure. He was confident in his abilities, but his unsure colleague was hesitant to take on the task. Connect. Disconnect. She connected her laptop to the Wi-Fi, but she had to disconnect it to save battery. Construct. Destroy. The construction of the new building was underway, but the old one would have to be destroyed to make room for it. Control. Chaos. She tried to maintain control over the situation, but it quickly turned into chaos. Cool. Warm. The cool breeze on her face was refreshing, but the warm sun on her skin was comforting. Correct. Incorrect. She corrected her mistake quickly, but her incorrect answer had already been submitted. Courage. Fear. He needed courage to speak up against injustice, but fear held him back. Crazy. Sane. The crazy man was shouting on the street corner, while the sane people were walking by, ignoring him. Create. Destroy. She used her creativity to create a masterpiece, but it only took a few seconds to destroy it. Crooked. Straight. The crooked path led them through the forest, while the straight path took them to the clearing. Cruel. Kind. The cruel boss made his employees work overtime, while the kind boss let them go home early. Cry. Laugh. She cried tears of joy at her sister's wedding, while they both laughed at the funny speeches. Curse. Bless. She cursed her bad luck, but her friend blessed her with a charm for good fortune. Dangerous. Safe. Swimming in the ocean can be dangerous, but swimming in a pool is generally safe. Dark. Light. The room was dark and gloomy, but the lamp provided a warm light. Dawn. Dusk. The dawn of a new day brought hope, while the dusk of the day before brought a sense of closure. Day. Night. She worked hard during the day, but she relaxed at night. Decrease. Increase. The decrease in sales was a cause for concern, but the increase in profits was a reason to celebrate. Defeat. Victory. They suffered a defeat in the first round, but they emerged victorious in the final match. Delay. Expedite. She tried to delay the meeting, but her boss wanted to expedite it. Demolish. Build. The old building was demolished to make way for a new one, which would be built in its place. Depressed. Happy. She was feeling depressed, but her friend's company made her happy. Despair. Hope. She felt despair after losing her job, but she held on to hope that something better would come along. Different. Same. The two paintings were different in style, but they had the same subject matter. Difficult. Easy. Learning a new language can be difficult, but with practice, it can become easy. Disappear. Appear. The magician made the rabbit disappear from the hat, and then it appeared again in his hand. Discourage. Encourage. She was discouraged by the negative feedback, but her friend encouraged her to keep going. Discover. Conceal. The treasure hunter discovered a hidden map, but he concealed it from his competitors. Dislike. Like. She disliked the taste of the new recipe, but her husband liked it. Distant. Close. They were distant cousins who had never met, but after a family reunion, they became close friends. Divide. Unite. The civil rights movement aimed to unite people of all races, but segregation policies were designed to divide them. Doctor. Patient. The doctor examined the patient and prescribed medication, while the patient followed the doctor's instructions. Double. Single. She ordered a double espresso, while her friend ordered a single latte. Down. Up. She was feeling down, but her friend's words of encouragement lifted her up. Dream. Reality. She dreamed of traveling the world, but the reality of her budget limited her options. Dull. Interesting. The lecture on accounting was dull, but the presentation on entrepreneurship was interesting. Early. Late. She arrived early for the meeting, but her colleague was running late. East. West. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Employed. Unemployed. He was employed as a software engineer, but his friend was currently unemployed. Empty. Full. The cup was empty, but the glass was full of water. End. Begin. The end of the movie left her feeling satisfied, while the beginning was slow to start. Enemy. Friend. He used to be her enemy, but now he is her best friend. Enough. Insufficient. The amount of food was enough for 2 people, but it was insufficient for the 5 of them. Enter. Leave. She entered the room quietly, but she left in a hurry after realizing she was in the wrong place. Entrance. Exit. The entrance to the museum was on the left, while the exit was on the right. Equal. Different. All people are equal, but their opinions and experiences can be different. Even. Odd. Even numbers are divisible by 2, while odd numbers are not. Excite. Calm. The roller coaster ride excited her, but the calm of the beach relaxed her. Expensive. Cheap. The luxury car was expensive, but the used car was cheap. Extend. Contract. The builder decided to extend the house, but the owner wanted to contract the project. External. Internal. The external factors, such as weather and competition, affected the business, but internal factors, such as management and culture, also played a role. Extra. Ordinary. The ordinary day turned into an extraordinary experience after she won the lottery. Fail. Succeed. She failed the test, but she succeeded in learning from her mistakes. Fake. Real. The fake diamond looked real, but the real diamond was much more valuable. Fall. Rise. The leaves fall from the trees in the autumn, but they rise again in the spring. False. True. The statement was false, but the fact was true. Far. Near. He lived far from the city, but his new job brought him near it. Fast. Slow. She drove fast on the highway, but she drove slow in the residential neighborhood. Fat. Thin. She used to be fat, but now she is thin after losing weight. Few. Many. She had few friends, but she had many acquaintances. Fierce. Gentle. The fierce lion roared loudly, but the gentle deer grazed quietly nearby. Find. Lose. She found her lost keys under the couch, but she later lost her phone. Finish. Start. She finished her work early, but she had to start a new project the next day. First. Last. She was the first to arrive at the party, but the last one to leave. Fix. Break. He tried to fix the broken vase, but he accidentally broke it further. Flat. Hilly. The land was flat and barren, while the neighboring area was hilly and green. Float. Sink. The boat floated on the water, but the rock sank to the bottom. Floor. Ceiling. She dropped her phone on the floor, while the ceiling was painted blue. Follow. Lead. She followed her friend's lead, but she also had the potential to lead the group. Foolish. Wise. He made a foolish mistake, but he later became wise after learning from it. Foreign. Domestic. Domestic products are made in the country, while foreign products are imported from other countries. Forget. Remember. She forgot her keys at home, but she remembered them after retracing her steps. Forward. Backward. She moved forward with her plans, but she sometimes looked backward to reflect on her past experiences. Free. Bound. The bird was free to fly in the sky, but the prisoner was bound by his chains. Fresh. Stale. The fresh bread smelled delicious, but the stale bread was hard and unappetizing. Full. Empty. The glass was full of water, but the plastic cup was empty. Future. Past. She looked forward to the future, but she sometimes reminisced about the past. Gain. Loss. He gained a new perspective from the experience, but he also suffered a loss in the process. Generous. Stingy. She was generous with her time and resources, but her boss was stingy with bonuses. Gentle. Fierce. The gentle breeze rustled the leaves, but the fierce storm knocked down trees. Give. Take. She gave her friend a gift for her birthday, but she also took a piece of cake for herself. Glad. Sad. She was glad to hear the good news, but she was sad to hear about the loss. Glass. Plastic. The glass bottle was more eco-friendly than the plastic bottle. Good. Bad. She had a good day, but she also had a bad headache. Graceful. Clumsy. The ballerina's movements were graceful, but the toddler's movements were clumsy. Great. Terrible. She had a great time on vacation, but the terrible weather ruined some of her plans. Gross. Net. The gross income was higher than the net income after taxes. Grow. Shrink. The plant grew taller with each passing day, but the pot it was in was shrinking in size. Guest. Host. She was a guest at the party, but she also hosted her own party the following weekend. Guilty. Innocent. He felt guilty for what he had done, but he was actually innocent of the crime. Hard. Soft. The rock was hard and unyielding, while the pillow was soft and comfortable. Hate. Love. She used to hate him, but she eventually fell in love with him. Healthy. Sick. She was healthy and active, but she fell sick after catching a cold. Heaven. Hell. Some people believe in heaven as a place of eternal peace, while others believe in hell as a place of eternal punishment. Heavy. Light. The suitcase was heavy to carry, but the feather was light as a feather. High. Low. The mountain peak was high above the clouds, while the valley was low and surrounded by hills. Hit. Miss. She swung the bat and hit the ball, but the next pitch was a miss. Honest. Dishonest. She was honest in her dealings, but her business partner was dishonest and deceitful. Huge. Tiny. The tiny ant crawled across the huge picnic blanket. Humid. Dry. The humid weather made her clothes stick to her skin, but the dry air made her lips chapped. Hungry. Full. She was hungry and ate a full meal, but she later regretted it when she felt too full. Ignorance. Knowledge. Ignorance is the lack of knowledge, while knowledge is the accumulation of information. Ignore. Notice. She chose to ignore the rude comment, but she couldn't help but notice the disapproving looks from the others. Ill. Well. She fell ill after catching the flu, but she was well again after a few days of rest. Implode. Explode. The building imploded due to a controlled demolition, but the bomb exploded due to a terrorist attack. Import. Export. The country imported goods from other nations, but it also exported its own products to other countries. Include. Exclude. The package included a free gift, but the exclusion of shipping fees made the total cost higher than expected. Inferior. Superior. The inferior product was of lower quality than the superior product. Inside. Outside. She was inside the house, but her dog was outside in the yard. Intense. Mild. The intense heat made her sweat, but the mild breeze cooled her down. Interesting. Boring. The interesting book kept her engaged for hours, but the boring lecture made her nod off. Invincible. Vulnerable. She felt invincible after winning the race, but she later realized that she was still vulnerable to injury. Invisible. Visible. The invisible ink could only be seen under special light, but the visible ink was easily seen on paper. Irregular. Regular. The irregular pattern on the dress was unique, while the regular pattern on the wallpaper was repetitive. Joy. Sorrow. She felt joy after receiving good news, but she felt sorrow after a loss. Junior. Senior. He was a junior employee, but he was promoted to a senior position after a few years. Just. Unjust. The just decision was fair and impartial, while the unjust decision was biased and unfair. Keep. Lose. She wanted to keep her job, but she was afraid that she might lose it due to company layoffs. Kind. Cruel. She was kind to her friends, but she was cruel to her enemies. Known. Unknown. She was well known in her hometown, but she was unknown in the big city. Laugh. Cry. She laughed at the funny joke, but she cried at the sad ending of the movie. Lazy. Industrious. The lazy cat slept all day, while the industrious bee worked tirelessly. Lead. Follow. She sometimes led the group, but other times she followed the lead of others. Left. Right. She turned left at the intersection, while her friend turned right. Less. More. She had less money after paying bills, but she had more free time to spend with her family. Life. Death. Life is the period between birth and death, while death is the end of life. Light. Heavy. The light feather was easy to carry, while the heavy rock was difficult to lift. Like. Dislike. She liked the taste of the sweet fruit, but she disliked the bitter taste of the medicine. Little. Big. The little girl was so small that she could fit into the big box, but the big dog was too large to fit into the little basket. Little. Much. She had little money in her bank account, but she had much love from her family and friends. Live. Die. We all live, but we will all eventually die. Long. Short. The long line at the amusement park made her impatient, but the short wait for the roller coaster was worth it. Loose. Tight. Her loose pants kept falling down, but her tight dress made her uncomfortable. Loud. Quiet. The loud music at the concert hurt her ears, but the quiet melody of the piano was soothing. Love. Hate. She used to hate him, but now she loves him with all her heart. Majority. Minority. The majority of the people in the room agreed with her, but the minority had different opinions. Male. Female. The male lion roared loudly, while the female lion watched over her cubs. Man. Woman. The man walked down the street, while the woman jogged in the park. Maximum. Minimum. The maximum speed limit on the highway was 70 miles per hour, while the minimum speed limit was 40 miles per hour. Meager. Abundant. She had a meager amount of food left in her pantry, but her neighbor had an abundant supply of fresh vegetables. Messy. Neat. Her messy room was cluttered with clothes and books, while her neat desk was organized and clean. Minor. Major. The minor issue was easily resolved, but the major problem required more attention. Misery. Happiness. She felt misery after her breakup, but she found happiness in her new relationship. Miss. Catch. She missed the train by a few seconds, but she was able to catch the next one. Modest. Conceited. She was modest about her achievements, but he was conceited and boastful. More. Less. She wanted more time to spend with her family, but she had less time due to her busy work schedule. Morning. Evening. She enjoyed the peaceful morning, but she also loved the vibrant colors of the evening sky. Mountain. Valley. The mountain peak was high and majestic, while the valley below was lush and green. Move. Stay. She wanted to move to a new city, but she decided to stay in her hometown. Multiply. Divide. When you multiply 2 by 3, you get 6, when you divide 6 by 3, you get 2. Narrow. Wide. The narrow path was difficult to navigate, but the wide road was easy to drive on. Near. Far. The store was near her house, but the park was far away. Neat. Messy. Her neat handwriting was easy to read, but her messy handwriting was hard to decipher. Negative. Positive. The negative comments hurt her feelings, but the positive feedback boosted her confidence. Never. Always. She never gives up on her dreams, but she always works hard to achieve them. New. Old. She bought a new car to replace her old one, Night. Day. She loved the nightlife, but she also enjoyed the beauty of the day. Noisy. Silent. The noisy construction site was disruptive, but the silent library was peaceful. Normal. Abnormal. The normal temperature for a healthy person is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, while an abnormal temperature could indicate an illness. North. South. The North Pole is located at the top of the Earth, while the South Pole is located at the bottom. Not. Yes. She wanted to say no, but she ended up saying yes to her friend's request. Notice. Ignore. She noticed the strange behavior of her coworker, but she chose to ignore it. Now. Then. She is busy now, but she will have more free time then. Numerous. Few. There were numerous people at the concert, but there were only a few seats available. Obey. Disobey. She chose to disobey her parents' rules, but she later regretted her decision. Obvious. Obscure. The obvious solution to the problem was to ask for help, but the obscure solution required more creativity. Occasional. Frequent. She made occasional mistakes, but she was usually very competent and efficient. On. Off. The light was on, but now it's off. Open. Closed. The open door allowed fresh air to flow in, but the closed window kept the noise out. Optimistic. Pessimistic. She was optimistic about her future, but her pessimistic friend always saw the worst in everything. Order. Chaos. She wanted to bring order to the chaos of her messy room. Ordinary. Extraordinary. He was an ordinary man, but his extraordinary talents made him stand out. Organized. Disorganized. Her organized desk helped her stay focused, but her disorganized closet made it difficult to find things. Original. Copy. The original artwork was unique and authentic, while the copy was a mass-produced imitation. Out. In. She went out into the cold, but she quickly retreated back inside where it was warm. Over. Under. The cup was overflowing with water, while the plate was underfilled with food. Own. Rent. She owned her own home, but her friend chose to rent an apartment. Pain. Pleasure. The pain in her arm was unbearable, but the pleasure of finishing the race made it all worth it. Part. Whole. She only ate a part of the pizza, but her friend ate the whole thing. Passive. Active. She was a passive observer, but her friend was an active participant in the discussion. Patient. Impatient. She was patient with the slow progress, but her impatience caused her to give up too soon. Peace. War. She longed for peace, but war seemed inevitable. Permanent. Temporary. The permanent marker left a mark that wouldn't come off, while the temporary tattoo faded after a few days. Permission. Prohibition. She asked for permission to leave early, but her boss prohibited her from doing so. Pick. Choose. She picked the red dress over the blue one, but she chose the blue shoes instead of the black ones. Poor. Rich. The poor family struggled to make ends meet, while the rich family had a luxurious lifestyle. Positive. Negative. She had a positive attitude, but her friend had a negative outlook on life. Possible. Impossible. It's possible to achieve your dreams if you work hard, but it's impossible to fly without wings. Pour. Sip. She poured herself a glass of water, but she only took a sip because she wasn't thirsty. Powerful. Weak. The powerful hurricane caused widespread destruction, while the weak tornado caused minimal damage. Practical. Impractical. The practical solution was to take the bus, but the impractical solution was to walk for miles. Pretty. Ugly. The pretty flowers added color to the garden, but the ugly weeds made it look unkempt. Private. Public. She wanted her private life to remain private, but her public persona was well known. Problem. Solution. She had a problem with her computer, but the solution was to restart it. Progress. Regression. She made progress on her project, but her regression was due to a lack of motivation. Proud. Ashamed. She was proud of her accomplishments, but she was ashamed of her past mistakes. Pull. Push. She pulled the door open, but she pushed the shopping cart down the aisle. Quality. Quantity. She valued quality over quantity, but her friend preferred to have more options. Question. Answer. She asked a question, and he gave an answer. Quick. Slow. She was quick to finish her work, but her coworker was slow and meticulous. Quiet. Loud. She enjoyed the quiet of the library, but she was annoyed by the loud music next door. Quit. Continue. She wanted to quit her job, but she decided to continue working to earn more money. Raunchy. Classy. The raunchy comedy made her laugh, but the classy drama made her cry. Raw. Cooked. She preferred her steak cooked medium rare, but her friend liked it well done. Real. Fake. She wanted a real diamond, but the fake one looked just as good. Reality. Fantasy. She preferred reality TV shows, but her friend loved fantasy movies. Reduce. Increase. She needed to reduce her expenses, but she wanted to increase her savings. Refuse. Accept. She refused to accept the job offer, but she later regretted her decision. Regret. Enjoy. She regretted not studying harder in school, but she enjoyed the time she spent with her friends. Regular. Irregular. She had a regular routine, but her irregular sleep schedule made her feel tired. Remember. Forget. She couldn't remember where she put her keys, but she also couldn't forget the lyrics to her favorite song. Remove. Add. She needed to remove the stain from her shirt, but she also needed to add detergent to the washing machine. Repair. Damage. She repaired her broken phone screen, but she accidentally caused more damage to the device. Respect. Disrespect. She respected her coworker's opinion, but she showed disrespect towards her boss. Rich. Poor. The rich get richer, while the poor get poorer. Right. Wrong. She knew the right answer, but she chose the wrong one by mistake. Rise. Fall. The sun rises in the morning, but it falls below the horizon in the evening. Rough. Smooth. The rough surface of the sandpaper smoothed out the rough edges of the wood. Rude. Polite. She was offended by his rude comment, but she appreciated his polite apology. Rural. Urban. She grew up in a rural area, but now she lives in a bustling urban city. Safe. Dangerous. The roller coaster was safe, but the bungee jumping was dangerous. Same. Different. She realized that the two situations were not the same, but they were different in many ways. Save. Spend. She saved up her money for a vacation, but she also enjoyed spending it on nice things. Scarcity. Abundance. The scarcity of resources made it difficult to survive, but the abundance of food made it easy to eat. Scatter. Gather. She scattered the papers on her desk, but she gathered them up to organize them later. Secure. Insecure. She felt secure in her relationship, but her insecure thoughts often crept in. Seen. Unseen. The unseen danger posed a threat, but the seen safety measures provided protection. Selfish. Selfless. She was selfish with her time and resources, but she eventually learned to be selfless and help others. Sensible. Nonsensical. Her sensible decision was to save money, but her nonsensical purchase was an impulse buy. Separate. Together. They were separate individuals, but they worked together as a team to achieve their goals. Serious. Frivolous. She needed to be serious during the meeting, but she couldn't resist the frivolous jokes afterwards. Shallow. Deep. The shallow water was easy to navigate, but the deep ocean was mysterious and vast. Shrink. Grow. The plant shrunk due to lack of water, but it grew back stronger after being properly cared for. Sick. Healthy. She felt sick after eating spoiled food, but she felt healthy after exercising and eating nutritious meals. Silence. Noise. The silence of the library was enjoyable, but the noise of the construction outside was disruptive. Simple. Complicated. The simple recipe was easy to follow, but the complicated instructions were confusing. Single. Married. She was single and enjoyed her freedom, but her married friends found comfort in their committed relationships. Sink. Float. The heavy rock sank to the bottom of the lake, but the light leaf floated on the surface. Sinner. Saint. She was once a sinner, but she became a saint after finding redemption. Slightly. Greatly. She was slightly nervous before her presentation, but she was greatly relieved when it was over. Slow. Fast. She walked slowly in the park, but she ran fast on the treadmill at the gym. Small. Big. The small dog was cute and cuddly, but the big dog was strong and protective. Smooth. Rough. The smooth surface of the glass was pleasant to touch, but the rough bark of the tree was rough and scratchy. Sober. Drunk. She chose to be sober and responsible, but her drunk friend made reckless decisions. Soft. Hard. The soft pillow provided comfort, but the hard floor was uncomfortable to sit on. Sometimes. Always. Sometimes she liked to be alone, but she always enjoyed spending time with her friends and family. Sorry. Proud. She was sorry for her mistake, but she was proud of her ability to admit fault. Sour. Sweet. The sour lemon made her pucker her lips, but the sweet strawberries were delicious. Spacious. Cramped. Her spacious apartment had plenty of room, but her cramped car made for an uncomfortable ride. Stale. Fresh. The stale bread was hard and unappetizing, but the fresh bread was soft and delicious. Start. Finish. She started her day with a cup of coffee, but she finished it with a relaxing bath. Stationary. Moving. The stationary bike provided a good workout, but the moving treadmill was more challenging. Stop. Go. She had to stop at the red light, but she could go when the light turned green. Straight. Crooked. The straight road led to the city, but the crooked path led to an abandoned house. Strong. Weak. She was strong enough to lift the heavy box, but she was too weak to open the jar. Succeed. Fail. She succeeded in her business venture, but she failed to maintain a work-life balance. Success. Failure. Success is determined by hard work and determination, while failure is a learning opportunity. Sunny. Cloudy. The sunny day was perfect for a picnic, but the cloudy day was better for staying indoors and reading a book. Superficial. Deep. Her superficial understanding of the topic was limited, but her deep research led to a thorough understanding. Superior. Inferior. The superior product was of higher quality, but the inferior product was cheaper. Support. Oppose. She supported her friend's decision, but her opponent opposed it. Sure. Unsure. She was sure of her answer, but she was unsure of her ability to complete the task. Sweet. Bitter. The sweet taste of the cake was delicious, but the bitter taste of the medicine was unpleasant. Swell. Shrink. The swelling in her ankle went down after she rested, but it shrunk again after she resumed activity. Tall. Short. The tall tree provided shade, but the short flower was easy to admire up close. Tame. Wild. The tame dog was friendly and obedient, but the wild wolf was dangerous and unpredictable. Temporary. Permanent. The temporary solution was a quick fix, but the permanent solution required more time and effort. Terrible. Great. The terrible storm caused destruction, but the great rescue efforts saved lives. Thick. Thin. The thick blanket provided warmth, but the thin sheet was cool and comfortable. Tight. Loose. The tight knot was secure, but the loose knot was easy to untie. Timeless. Timely. Timeless fashion never goes out of style, but timely fashion is trendy and current. Timid. Brave. She was timid in new situations, but she was brave when she needed to stand up for her beliefs. Tiny. Huge. The tiny ant was small and insignificant, but the huge elephant was powerful and majestic. Together. Apart. They were together as a group, but they were apart in their individual activities. Top. Bottom. The top of the mountain provided a beautiful view, but the bottom of the valley was peaceful and serene. Town. Village. The town was bustling with activity, but the village was quiet and quaint. Traditional. Modern. Traditional methods were tried and true, but modern methods were innovative and efficient. Transparent. Opaque. The transparent glass allowed light to pass through, but the opaque curtain blocked it. True. False. The true statement was based on facts, but the false statement was based on lies and deceit. Trust. Distrust. She trusted her friend with her secrets, but she felt distrust towards her enemy. Truth. Lie. The truth was revealed after a long investigation, but the lie was exposed after a slip of the tongue. Tug. Push. She tugged on the rope to pull the heavy box, but she had to push it up the stairs. Twisted. Straight. The twisted path was confusing, but the straight path was easy to follow. Ugly. Beautiful. The ugly sweater was an eyesore, but the beautiful dress was stunning. Under. Over. The book was under the table, but the lamp was over it. Understand. Misunderstand. She understood the instructions clearly, but her coworker misunderstood and made a mistake. Unhappy. Happy. She was unhappy with her job, but she became happy after finding a new one. Unique. Common. Her unique style set her apart from others, but the common trend was popular among many. Unite. Divide. They were united in their cause, but their differences ultimately divided them. Unusual. Common. The unusual occurrence was a surprise, but the common event was predictable. Up. Down. She walked up the stairs, but she walked down to the basement. Urgent. Not urgent. The urgent matter required immediate attention, but the non-urgent matter could wait. Use. Misuse. She used the tool correctly, but her coworker misused it and caused damage. Valid. Invalid. The valid argument was based on sound reasoning, but the invalid argument was flawed and illogical. Victory. Defeat. The victory was hard-earned, but the defeat was a learning experience. Visible. Invisible. The visible sign was easy to see, but the invisible force was mysterious and elusive. Vital. Insignificant. The vital component was necessary for success, but the insignificant detail was unimportant. Vivid. Dull. The vivid colors were bright and bold, but the dull colors were muted and subdued. Warm. Cold. The warm sun provided comfort, but the cold wind was chilling. Weak. Strong. The weak person lacked strength, but the strong person possessed power and resilience. Wealthy. Poor. The wealthy family had abundance, but the poor family struggled to make ends meet. Wet. Dry. The wet clothes were damp and uncomfortable, but the dry clothes were warm and cozy. White. Black. The white snow covered the ground, but the black asphalt was visible on the roads. Wide. Narrow. The wide road provided space for many cars, but the narrow path was only accessible by foot. Wife. Husband. She was his wife, and he was her husband. Wild. Tame. The wild animal was untamed and unpredictable, but the tame animal was domesticated and obedient. Win. Lose. She wanted to win the competition, but she was prepared to lose gracefully. Wise. Foolish. The wise decision was based on experience and knowledge, but the foolish decision was reckless and risky. Within. Outside. She was within reach of her goal, but the outside factors were beyond her control. Wonder. Blunder. She wondered about the possibilities, but her blunder caused a mistake. Work. Rest. She needed to work to earn a living, but she also needed to rest to recharge. Worry. Relax. She worried about the outcome, but she relaxed and enjoyed the moment. Worse. Better. The situation was worse than she expected, but it eventually got better. Worst. Best. The worst-case scenario was unlikely, but the best-case scenario was ideal. Wrong. Right. The wrong answer was incorrect, but the right answer was accurate. Yearn. Despise. She yearned for adventure, but she despised boredom. Yes. No. She said yes to the invitation, but she said no to the second offer. Young. Old. She was young and full of energy, but she also respected the wisdom of old people. Zero. Non-zero. The zero balance indicated no money, but the non-zero balance showed some funds.